One day, I woke up and I reflected on the co-mayor I had been. Where she was. Where she wasn't. That co-mayor, who had let Mayor Aaron tell her what to do, who to be, and how to act. Who to review. All I ever wanted was to be comfortable in my own plastic. I have always been so self-destructive. Now I have no choice. I have to destroy Mayor Aaron, so the real mayor of Lumberjillville can emerge.
Whoa, come here, Alexa. How long was I under for? That's gotta be a record.
Can I cut one promo without you interrupting?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't help but hear when I was under there, like something destroy something mayor. I don't know. Are you like turning heel on me or something? Hey y'all, welcome to Lumberjillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now I am super excited today because we have two women's figures from Elite Series 85, Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. And from first look, I have to tell you, these are freaking amazing. So with that being said, let's take a closer look, starting at the boxes. So let's start off taking a closer look at these boxes from Elite Series 85. Now, I've mentioned before that starting with Elite Series 81, those new style boxes I actually liked. I know there's the controversial addition of the Certified Authentic logo here, but I love that they added these full-colored photos of the superstars on the front. I think that's very cool. Now, looking at both these figures, I mean, these are both prime men-on-card figures, honestly, especially the Becky, considering this moment in history. However, you know, obviously anyone that watches this channel knows that I am going to open them and review them up close. But taking a closer look at the boxes, starting with Becky here, once again, we have that great photo on the front. And we can see how toyetic this box is and how she is inside the box with that Raw Women's Championship over her shoulder, the Money in the Bank briefcase, two extra hands. We got that photo of Becky with a little smirk on the side. Other side, live action photo of her. And on the back, we have that little bio of her, and then the rest of the series. Moving on to Liv, she once again looks great in the box. Great for men on card collectors. The only thing I am going to say is it's a little bizarre that for men on card we have this robe, and we'll get to that when we talk about the figure itself. But I think it's weird. But anyway, it's a nice little photo of Liv we have on the front. We have that same photo blown up on the side. Other way around, we have a live action photo of her. And on the back, we have a little bio and the rest of the series. So yeah, as much as I like to open the figures, these are ones that I'm very interested in getting extras to have men on card because these do look great. But with that being said, let's take a closer look at these figures out of the box, starting with Liv. Elite 85 Liv Morgan. This attire is from the 2020 Women's Royal Rumble match that took place on January 26th. Liv was the 7th entrant and had the first elimination of the night when she tossed out Lana, who then eliminated Liv. Fun fact to all you Marvel fans out there is that Liv Morgan apparently took inspiration from Spider-Man's Black Cat for this particular attire. So before we take a look at her accessories and do a breakdown of the figure itself, starting with the face and then doing the attire, I have to start off by saying that this figure is simply stunning. It is amazing and near perfect. There's very few times where I get a women's wrestling figure and I open it up and I'm blown away, and this is one of those times. I mean, everything from the prototype images to the men on card images to having it in hand, it's been just breathtaking, and I'm happy to say that it does not disappoint. So taking a closer look at this Liv, starting with her hands. Her left hand is an open hand with white fingernail polish. Her right hand is in the formation of the L. and it has black fingernail polish. Now the accessories that she does come with is an extra set of hands, which are semi-open, semi-grasping, if you will. The left hand, once again, has that white nail polish. Very good. Right hand has a black nail polish. Now the accessory that really stands out, and the reason I have this blue backdrop, is she has this white bathrobe, okay? Now, this is part of her little destroy herself to become the real Liv. I mean, it was part of that short-lived gimmick that I thought was pretty cool. And she had promos in the bath, and she had a couple promo photos in the robe itself. So it's cool that they included it. I mean, I was questioning it a little bit at first, but at least it's better than nothing, I guess. So let's see how it goes on her. I mean, this is easy to put on. And it is like a cloth, like an actual cloth towel material. So it's pretty cool. And once it's on her, let's see, it's got a little hood that goes up. It's got a little fasten by Velcro in the front here that just, boom, fastens. And yeah, there we have Liv in the robe. Now, if you're going to put the robe on her, you probably put the hood down. So it's nice that they included this. It's kind of weird, but like I said, it's better than nothing. I would have rather had an entrance jacket, but it is cool to add. I mean, wow, I don't know what else to say. I mean, other than this face scan is literally one of the best scans that Mattel has ever freaking done. I mean, this is a beautiful scan, and it looks just like her from all different angles. Now, I thought her scan was pretty good in her previous basic and also her Elite 69. I'm going to put a picture of that scan here to the left of her head. And I thought that was pretty good, but honestly, compared to this blows that one out of the water. I mean, it looks just like her. Now, I know it's a whole different gimmick, different attire and everything else, but this is just spot on and perfect in every way. Even the makeup application's great. And the hair, as you can see, I have this blue background because the hair is very blonde. So it's very hard for the camera to pick up, but it is accurate, and it looks really good. And the sculpt of it is also pretty unique. It even has a little piece kind of floating up here on the left side, and you can see strands on the right. And then it has one big piece in the back. So everything about this head sculpt, this head scan is just awesome. And even if you look closely under her neck, you can see that that little choker necklace is painted on very intricately and looks great. So moving on down to her attire, it continues to be a completely flawless figure, and the amount of attention to detail in this figure is just astounding. So I already mentioned that choker necklace painted on, which looks great. Now this upper body mold is what we'll look at first. And yes, I said mold. They put a lot of molding attention to detail in this upper body, this top, and it looks great. So we have this molded bra type piece here, with the look of this molded leather top kind of going around it, being semi-open, and it looks great, and it works awesome. Also, this little molded piece going across the middle, you're going to hear me say molded a lot, but honestly, I have to do it justice. And there's also these little wrinkles that are molded in the plastic there to simulate that tight leather, which looks awesome. The arms are painted just a solid black, which does work because it was very tight attire. She has this glove painted on her left hand, and not on her right, which is accurate. Her belt is awesome and a molded piece once again. The lower half, we just have regular painted bottoms black, which works well. On her left leg, we have this non-removable, I was checking it, non-removable little leg strap piece, which was accurate to her gimmick and character at the time and what she wore. And this has tons of detail in it, including little silver accents. Her knee pads are also very unique to her. And, I mean, the shape of them is awesome. And then if you look closely, there's intricate laces molded all the way down the knee pads into the boots with those little silver studs on the outside. So, I mean, honestly, the attention to detail, the care that they gave this figure, it's just beyond words. I mean, this thing is freaking perfect. So before we move on to the Becky Lynch figure, I wanted to do something kind of fun and put all of Liv Morgan's figure releases in front of us, and we could look at them up close, compare them, and kind of break them down a little bit. So I have done reviews on the basic and this previous Elite. So look at those on the channel if you're curious, but looking at them all together here, we have Elite 85 on the far right, we have Basic 110 in the middle, and we have Elite 69 Target Exclusive on the far left. And honestly, as much as I love this 85, I love her other figures too, just as much, honestly. I mean, this basic to me is probably one of the best basics, if not the best woman's basic of all time. Now, this is post Elite Articulation basics for the women, if that makes sense. Because they really dumbed down the tooling that went into the women's basics, and they pretty much just had, generic body molds that they would use paint application to make their gear. But on this figure, it works. I think that top works. I think the bottom is great and very intricately painted. The little sneaker boots are awesome. And this face and the bright pink hair makes this probably my favorite basic of all time. Now going back to her first Elite 69 Target exclusive, which is very hard to find. This is a awesome figure as well. Tons of intricate paint application. She does have this molded half t-shirt top, which is actually previously from a couple AJ Lee figures with the tears in the back. So it was a reused part from those AJ Lee figures. But the detail is awesome in this figure, and that face is great. Now, comparing it to this Elite 85, it is a little taller, and I think the Elite 85 is probably more to scale, but scale has kind of gone out the window with the Mattels recently. But they're great figures in their own right. But honestly, this Elite 85 Liv Morgan, it stands out to me. It stands out even more than this previous Elite, and I never thought that would happen. And here's one last look at Elite Series 85 Liv Morgan. Elite Series 85 Becky Lynch. This attire is from Night 1 of WrestleMania 36, which took place on April 4th, 2020, where Becky defeated Shayna Baszler to retain the Raw Women's Championship. She also wore a gold jacket in her memorable semi-truck entrance that night, which would have been a nice, awesome inclusion, but it was left out. Side note, she also wore this black attire in the 2020 Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which took place on January 26th, where she defeated Asuka in a singles match to retain the Raw Women's Championship. The Money in the Bank briefcase that she comes with pays homage to the Raw that took place on May 11th, 2020, where she announced her pregnancy and handed over the Raw Women's title in the Money in the Bank briefcase. So honestly, this is an Elite Becky Lynch that we absolutely needed. Now, in my opinion, that Elite 72 Becky Lynch was a great figure. But we needed a Becky in ring gear that really does her justice, and this is it, because that Ultimate Edition, in my opinion, it really fell short and was a huge disappointment. So I'm glad that we got this, and even though this is a very simple figure, I freaking love it because it's pretty darn cool. So let's first take a look at the accessories. She does come with this Money in the Bank briefcase, and this, like I mentioned in her little intro, this does simulate the night where she handed over the Raw Women's Championship to Asuka that was in this briefcase. Now, does it fit in the briefcase? I don't think so. I really don't want to cram it in there, but it's a thought that counts, y'all. And it is cool that she comes with this. It's a pretty historical moment. Now, the hand she comes packaged with is a left closed fist and a right semi-open. And the accessory hand she has is a right closed fist and a left semi-open. Now, upon further inspection, this Raw Women's Championship that she comes with looked different to me. And I grabbed an old Raw Women's Championship that I had, because I have a million of them, and it is a little different. So the gold seems like a little bit more of a yellowish tone, kind of like what we saw in the Fan Takeover NXT titles, and it looks pretty good. Also, a major difference you'll see is the little line under the WWE logo is in a solid black color on this new version. But however, if you take a closer look, the WWE logo itself stands out way more in the older version of the Raw title than it does on the newer. It's more of like a dull gray. So yeah, to each their own, I guess. I mean, you might like the newer Raw Women's title more, you might like it less, but either way, it is a little bit different, so I just wanted to show you that. Now, with that being said, let's take a closer look at the figure. So this scan of Becky is one that we've seen on multiple occasions, and I think it works pretty darn well. I mean, they used it in Elite Series 72 and also a couple of her basics along the way. And I guess my biggest gripe on it is there's not a whole lot of emotion in it. If you look at it, it's just kind of a deadpan expression. Even her basic Series 115 and also her battle pack with Seth Rollins had the ponytail mold, and she had a little bit of a smirk in that, and she doesn't have that here. But that's okay because it works with her ring attire, gives her kind of that determined look. And I do like that this time we got the messy hair sculpt, because the messy hair sculpt that came with the Ultimate Edition had the face that looked nothing like Becky. So I actually really like this hair sculpt. And I really do like this face. I think it works just fine, and it looks just like Becky. So moving on down to her attire, it is very simple and basic. However, it is very, very accurate to those two nights that were pretty memorable in her career. So taking a closer look, this is basically all painted on deco as far as her ring attire goes. But there is some molding here, obviously between the chest there. And the most notable thing that I noticed is the belly button is smooth over top. I know that sounds crazy, but too often we just get that belly button painted straight over, Victoria's Secret body paint issue, and that bothers me. So it's nice that we have that smoothed over appearance, making it look like she does have that top on there. Now, she also has this little opening painted on with flesh paint in combination with this shiny solid black, signifying that it's open in the front. And if you look closely, what's really cool about this detail, honestly, in this attire, is if you look close, it's going to be a little hard to see on camera, but you see these little black accents and little pattern that she has on the sides, going all the way around to the back. I mean, that's very accurate to that night. I know it's a little hard to see, but it is accurate and it looks great. Also, on her forearms, she has a solid black with that shiny black on the top and the bottom in a line. And then her lower body here, we do have those shorts, which once again, all painted black, with the little line here. Now, the one thing I can say that y'all need to help me out here, I have trouble seeing the skin tones because I am colorblind. A lot of people say that this upper thigh skin tone usually doesn't match the lower thigh, so let me know how it looks here. Her knee pads, they're solid black, and they're not a pad, it's just painted. And in all actuality, if it was accurate to that night, there should be a pattern design on there. But moving on to her boots, she has kick pads underneath her boots with two white lines going around. So that looks okay, but overall, the attire is simple, but it's pretty accurate and looks cool. And here's one last look at Elite Series 85, Becky Lynch. So next I wanted to cover articulation, and this is for a main reason. And that reason being, it was announced that as these elite lines continue, they're going to try to move to double jointed elbows for the figures. And this Elite 85 Becky is the first female in an elite line that has that double jointed elbow, so it allows crazy flexion. And where that comes in handy is with the title. She can really hold it pretty good, hold it snug. Now, moving to the rest of her articulation here, her head is on that ball joint. It can go in all different directions. She can look right, look left. Because of the long hair, it does kind of limit her looking up and down. Now, her shoulder is on that ball joint, all different directions here. She has that upper arm swivel. Once again, that elbow is double jointed, so it's crazy how much flexion you can get. She has the wrist, which can extend and flex and also rotate. She has that upper torso elite articulation, so she can go in all different directions. At the waist, she can swivel. Her hip is on that ball joint in all different directions. She has that upper thigh swivel. She has that double jointed knee, so she can really flex it back far. And the foot can't go side to side, which is interesting, but it can go down and up. Now moving to Liv here, her head honestly does not move a whole lot, but she can look right and look left. The shoulder's on that ball joint. She has an upper arm swivel. She has single elbow flexion, so she can't go as far as Becky. The wrist can flex, extend, and rotate. She has that upper torso rotation here. Waist swivel. Thighs are on the ball joints. She does have that upper thigh twist. The knee, because of the knee brace, it does inhibit it a little bit. However, her foot can go down and up, but can also rock back and forth a little bit. So now's the fun part. I get to give them overall scores. So overall, I give Elite Series 85 Becky Lynch a score of an 8 out of 10. I mean, this is a really good Becky Lynch figure, and we really needed her in her ring gear and elite form that did her justice, and I think this figure does that. Is it perfect? No. There's a couple little things with her attire that makes it not that accurate, but the inclusion of the new Raw Women's title, the Money in the Bank briefcase, and also that face scan and hair sculpt, I mean, I think it works great. Now that being said, I give Elite Series 85 Liv Morgan a platinum 10 out of 10. This may be the best women's wrestling figure I have ever reviewed on the channel. And honestly, it is a first ballot Hall of Famer once I make that. I mean, this thing it's insane. It really is. It's on the same level as Kairi Sane, Io Shirai. I mean, it is right up there to where this looks like literally a miniature version of Liv. And honestly, it's going to be really hard to top this figure in the future because this thing is perfect. Thanks for stopping by Lumberjillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Make sure to hit like and subscribe for a first look at all future women's wrestling figures, including Elite Series 84 Zelina Vega, which should be here this week. So look for that review very soon. Have a good night, y'all.